Welcome to Success in Motion. Join us as we dive deep with top leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals, uncovering strategies to grow, scale, and succeed.
Welcome back to the Success in Motion podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, joined by Eric Bam. Eric Bam is a two-time Amazon bestseller author and pizza guru and proud father and husband. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, my friend. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Awesome. I think we're going to have a fun conversation. You seem, before to the recording, you seem to really have things to go to talk about, and I'm excited to talk about those things. We'll try not to spend too much time talking about pizza, although we do love pizza. So give us a snapshot of your business right now. What's going on? What are you doing? What are these books you're talking about? And how does any of that relate to pizza?
There's a lot going on. You know, I'm a full-time day job that I really enjoy, which is perfect crust pizza liners, and these go in a pizza box. I won't get too much into that, but that business affords me to be in some of the best pizza places in the country, and I know the best pizza people, and I'm a pizza snob. I'll admit it, you know, but they say pizza's a lot like sex, Michael. When it's good, it's really good, and when it's bad, it's still pretty good. So I like all pizza, you know, it's all good, and I enjoy it, and so I do that for the main gig, and then wrote a couple of Amazon bestsellers. This one just came out about 2 weeks ago, Big Day Wisdom. And basically what that book is about is just stuff for me from a business standpoint. It's a business. You could probably take sales and life and interchange those words in this book, but just some of the things in the pillars of what I do every day that I feel like are important. And quite honestly, one of them I talk about here is doing video. Doing audio and video. We live in a world where we have the greatest communication device in the history of the world in our hands, and yet we still send a text message that's very flat and one-dimensional, and someone reads it wrong because they didn't realize we wrote it in our sarcasm font. And so that's kind of what this book is about. And then the first one, Amazon bestseller, Dreaming Again, A Roadmap Back to You, was kind of a memoir to my kids about the things that it took me, 40 years to learn. And I know it's hard to believe I'm 55, but it took me, 40 years to learn some things that, as we get older, I have a lot of friends. You probably have friends. If you're watching this, you have friends that they forget to dream. They forget to chase the things they want in their life, and they become zombies and robots, and they get up and go to work every day, and they've forgotten about the things that they want. They stop chasing those, and they start saying, like, I wish instead of I want, and I'm going to get. And wishing and hoping aren't plans to prosper your life.
Yeah, it's too often as we get older, we get routines, and anything that's not in that routine becomes foreign or scary. And so we avoid it, and then we just do the same thing. We get up at the same time. We go to work at the same time. We do the same thing at work. We come home. We eat the same thing for dinner every week. And then we go to bed at the same time, and then we just get up and do it all over again. And I like that you're taking that stance of helping people find their way out of that rut. That's really cool. And then I also liked what you were talking about with your first book about we're in a digital age. You have to adapt. You have to go to what people want to see. There's a reason why Instagram and TikTok are some of the major platforms out there. People want to see your face. They want to hear your voice. They want to know what you're doing. But going back to the first thing that I was talking about of getting out of your routine, it can be scary getting on camera. Yeah. How do you overcome that initial stage fright of just picking up a phone and doing a selfie, or thinking you don't have the right equipment, so you have to take 3 days to think about what you're going to do before you do it?
Well, I think there's two. I think there's two answers to answer that question is twofold. I think number one, how you get over that is you just do it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. I mean, you have this podcast during COVID. I had a live show that I did with a friend of mine, and you go back and you watch it in the first couple of episodes, weren't so great, but they get better as you do it. And the only way you become a seasoned veteran, or the only way you learn to do things, is just by doing them. Like that's number one. And I think the second thing, and probably the most important thing, is that we as humans become so concerned about what someone else might think about what we're doing that it paralyzes us to do nothing. And the reality is they're not thinking about us anyway, right? So we sit there worried about what they might think, and they're worried about what we think. And really the biggest miss is at the end of the day when you're laying on your deathbed, and if I worried about what you thought about what I was going to do and it held me back from chasing things I wanted, it's such a miss. You've got to not listen to what's going on and hear about what somebody else might be thinking about you, because the reality is there are some people we all have haters, right? Sometimes they're the ones that are closest to us. And if someone is really overthinking about what you're doing, they either one really love the crap out of you or they just really don't like you. So there's always going to be people that root for you to fail, but you got to get out and try. You got to get out and try. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. That is life.
Yeah, I really like that, what you were saying about they either really like you or they really dislike you. The ones who dislike you, we don't care about them anyway. So why does it matter what they think? And the ones who like you, they really love you. They're going to love you in spite of you going and making it big with this idea or you failing. They might try and protect you from getting hurt or embarrassing yourself. But if you tiptoe around these things and you never actually do it, that's actually hurting you worse than going through and failing. I heard once that when you fail, you're not actually failing unless you quit. Failing is just a learning opportunity. And so as long as you're growing from those opportunities, don't be afraid of failure. Just go and do it. It's just a video. And if you have to sit there and do 30 takes of that video to feel comfortable with it, do it. That's 30 takes of experience to get you closer to that.
That's it. You got you have to fail forward, right? Yeah. So when you fail, you learn from it. And if you fail and you go back, you take a step back, well, figure it out and move forward. If you fail and you're in the same spot, that's probably a miss. We've got to learn to fail forward. And what I mean by that is to step back and go, what was good and what was bad about what I did and how can I get better from it? The reality is, Michael, when we fail, whether it's at work or with our children or at home or whatever it is, the reality is 99.999% of the time, it's not fatal unless we failed jumping out of a plane. We forgot our parachute. It's not fatal, right? It's not life ending. It's not career ending. You just got to keep taking chances and keep taking risks and putting yourself out there. That's how you grow as a person.
And even if you do go and you do make a mistake that's so big that it ends your career, that doesn't mean that's the end of your life. How many people in their 40s and 50s and 60s have reinvented themselves and then become uber wealthy because they sometimes who you are today needs to die to become the person that you need to be tomorrow. And don't be afraid of that. Like, obviously, don't take stupid risk. But if it's moving you towards where you're going, let's do it. Let's talk about your writing experience. You've written 2 books. You put them on Amazon. You became a bestseller. What does that look like? How do you even get a book on Amazon?
It's actually pretty easy to get a book on Amazon, quite honestly. And I will tell you, the difference between the first one and the second one is night and day. And just how to get a book on Amazon. If you said to me, hey, I want to write a book, okay, and you sat at a laptop and you typed in, you came up with a manuscript and it's 150 pages. It is so easy to self-publish now versus you had to have someone do it for you 20 years ago, 15 years ago. You go on, it's called KDP, which is Kindle something publishing, which is part of Amazon. And you upload your manuscript. You pick, I'm like on this book, I've got paperback, hardback. It's available on Kindle. It's available on Audible starting Friday. And it's all done on the website. It's all free. So you pick, I would like this to be paperback, hardback. You pick what size it's going to be, how big it's going to be. And then you upload it and then you put in the price. It's very simple. They even do, Michael, stuff like the ISBN on here. They provide that. They do all that. So it's very easy to do. If anybody has a thought to write a book, it is extremely easy. The process of actually putting it out on Amazon is very easy. The process of writing the book is not as easy.
Yeah.
Say that.
It sounds like they've made the process so easy, pretty
Yep.
much anybody could do it. And
Yes.
when that process becomes that easy, it's hard to stand out and actually be
Yep.
successful or profitable at it. How have you taken what you have to become a bestseller and make this actually a worthwhile endeavor instead of just being another book on the shelf?
Um, it's a great question. So I'm never going to get rich from writing these, and it's not my goal. It's not my goal to be famous. It's not like but I wrote these because of this stuff that's inside of me that I feel like we live in a space where one of the things I talk about in here is that I think a lot of people use social media wrong. They use social media to bitch and complain, and the reality is, you and me, raise your hand if you went to your grandma's house or your nana's house and on the coffee table was 12 photo albums, right? And we don't do that anymore. And I think social media is our photo album, and we need to look at it that way, that it's our digital footprint that's there forever. It's there for our kids and our grandkids and our great grandkids to see. And this is just another easy way to do it. 25 years ago, you'd have to go to a publisher, and then someone would have to want to publish this. And now you can leave this and it's there forever, and we have the time we live in right now. Like I said, with the greatest communication device in the history of the world, we have such a unique opportunity to leave such a legacy with our kids that's there for just eternity, and for my grandkids to be able to watch this and go, man, that was my grandfather, and he was awesome. I'm going to say he was awesome, right? And to be able to see that, whereas our parents kind of could have done that but didn't, and then our grandparents, they didn't have this opportunity. And so it's a miss, I think, in a lot of adults' parts, that they don't use social for, in my opinion, to leave a legacy for everyone to see forever.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about leaving a legacy. My
Yep.
my stepfather-in-law is actually writing a book. I don't know if he's going to go through the process of publishing it, but he's writing the book so
Yep.
that he can leave that for his kids, so that they can just know stories about his childhood and the area that he grew up in, so that they
Yep.
can know what life was like back then, which I thought was pretty cool. But for me, I'm not a writer, right? And
Right.
so how do you get somebody who has all of this experience, all of these experiences and knowledge and information to give to the world? How do you get them to write that first book?
You know what? I think it's a choice. You know what? You have to decide. I mean, COVID hit, and I started a mastermind group, and of the 20 people that were in that group, I think 6 or 7 wrote books during that period. And you need to write a book. And I'm like, I don't know what I'd write a book about. I just don't. And then one day it hit me. It was to leave what I wanted to leave for my children. And so I'm going to put that back on you a little bit. I don't know if you have kids or how old you are, wife, anything like that. But, for you, there's something in here that you want to leave forever. And for you, it's doing it this way, right?
Yeah.
Is it you feel comfortable behind in the camera, but this is it. What is it about writing that feels foreign for you in a way?
For me, I feel like I get writer's block. I don't know what's going on with the writing. Am I going to say the right thing? Is my spelling going to be right? Am I going to get the right sentence structure? Am I going to write this long book and then I look like an idiot, right? But I think those are all excuses, right? I'm just giving you a
Yes.
bunch of excuses. I think what the key thing is purpose.
Right.
Like, if you go into writing a book with purpose, all of that other mess just becomes excuses. I've
Yeah.
heard of really successful people who've written books in half an hour, and
Right.
they became an Amazon bestseller. They got their information out there. It didn't get critiqued. It didn't go through an editor like
Right.
it had grammatical mistakes, but he got his message out there. He got in touch his message in the hands of people that needed to hear that message, and he
Yeah.
used it for the purpose that he had to move that purpose along, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so if you find the purpose of why you're doing it, and I really loved the purpose that you gave of writing your books, of that sharing with your posterity, if you have that purpose, you're going to do what it takes And all of the excuses just go out the window. You don't care about
Right.
that stuff anymore. It's just, let's make it happen.
I've gone on your YouTube page and I've watched several of your podcast videos. Have you considered, so let me back up. There are so many people that want to do a podcast, right? Whether it's just audio or it's audio video like you're doing. For me, it's leaving this way. Have you thought about taking what you've figured out doing this and offering that to other people to say, if you'd like to do a podcast, let me help you? Because that's such a cool way that you get to help other people leave their legacy forever. Have you thought about like doing that?
So I haven't, mostly because the only part of doing the podcast that I actually enjoy and even know how to do is what we're doing right now. I have a
Right.
team who does all the behind the scenes stuff. And so somebody came to me with that idea that you just had and said, "Hey, we can do everything and we can make it super easy. All you have to do is go do the part that you enjoy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all over that. What do I have to pay?
Right.
Let's go." Right.
Right. Well,
And so,
but that's even a great point, right? Because the people that think they can't do it, you can literally say, I got a guy, right? I got a guy. And say, look, you don't have to know everything about everything. You don't have to have the right setup. You don't have to have, but I've got the people in place. I think that it's such a, you have a superpower in some way that you have this knowledge of what you're doing, and you could write a really short book on just how you got here, and maybe, like I said, maybe that's your superpower to put it out there. I am curious, you host this and you do this every week. Do you find yourself, like, just before you go live, do you find like a little insecurity over like, I hope this goes good today, or how's this going to be? Do you have a little insecurity when you jump on? I feel like insecurity drives people sometimes. Do you have that?
actually, not as bad as I thought I would.
Yeah.
Now, some of that has to do with, I've been in sales my whole life, right? When I was 5, my parents drove me around for fundraisers, and I sold donuts for my brothers to go to do Boy Scout activities, right?
Yeah.
Now, I was super shy. And so all I would do is smile and giggle, and people would buy donuts from me because I was, a cute, shy little kid. And then my brother would stand there and collect the money. But I've always been put in front of people in a way that I've doing. And then just over the years, reading sales books, being in sales positions, knocking door to door, working in Fortune 500 companies, I've kind of overcome that a little bit. And so it made this a lot easier. Now, to be on a podcast, you don't need any of that. All you need to know is that just be genuine.
Yeah.
And it'll come across great. When you try and fake it and trying to be somebody you're not, and fake questions, fake answers, that's when you start to fumble. But if you're just genuine up here,
you see the cracks in the concrete on that stuff, right?
Yeah. If you're just being genuine on the podcast, then it goes great.
I'm curious too, because how many episodes have you done now? 40, 45, 50, something like that?
So we started this podcast actually in January of this year.
Yeah.
And our goal was to do between 4 and 6 a week. So we'd average out 5, and we've been pretty consistent at that.
I'm sorry. I'm caffeinated today, right? So here's my question. You mentioned you're in sales, and I don't know what you sell and what you do, but I find that doing things like this, do you find that doing a podcast and interviewing and talking to people, how much does that help you in your sales job?
Oh, 100%.
Huge.
Skills like that, it's like a muscle, right?
Yep.
You go to the gym. The more you go to the gym, the more you can lift, the better you can lift. With sales, it's all about talking to people, building relationships. The more you do it, the more easily it comes, right?
Yes.
During this time, I work from home. This is a home office. I love working from home. My commute to work is so short, like it's 10 steps from the bedroom to my office, right? It's fantastic.
Right.
But with that, it's easy to never leave the house, to never talk to people outside of who you're trying to sell or buy or whatever it is that you're doing business with. And so it's easy to not have those interacting conversations like we're having. And so this has actually helped me on this, be able to interact with people a little bit better. I still find ways to go out and interact with people But
Yeah.
this here gives me I have to do it because I've scheduled this appointment a week or two ago that we're going to do it. Or I have the team that's scheduling those appointments for me. And so it really does push me out of my comfort zone a little bit, but not
Who
so far out.
who would be your top 2 or 3 guests? Let's put it out there. Who would they be?
It's hard to quantify that because I feel like every guest brings something different.
Yeah.
And I also feel like you flipped the script on me. I'm no longer interviewing you, but now I feel like you're interviewing me, which is fine. I'm fine answering the question. But I feel like my goal was to get to know you a little bit better. And so I'd love to shift this back on what you're doing and talk about your success a little bit more, if that's okay with you.
Well, see, what I did was, and it was very intentional. You picked up on it. I knew I figured you figured it out a question or two ago. But part of that for me is that's sales, right? And that's life.
Mm-hmm.
It's asking the other person questions and figuring them out and what makes you tick and what makes you feel valued and needed and heard. And it's something that salespeople don't do a good job of a lot. You know, it's to ask the right questions, right, and start talking. And so it is interesting to me in sales where we just want to talk, right, to hear ourselves talk. But the reality is we don't ask the right questions. I am curious who your top 3 guests would be, and because I think that's important to put it out there. But so
yeah, I liked what you said about the questions, right? And people who are in sales, they like to talk. And when I first started in sales, that's what I was. I'm very intellectual. I'm not saying that I'm smart. I'm just intellectual, analytical, right? And so when I have a product that I'm trying to sell, my goal is to know more about that product than anybody else. I'm going to have all the information so that if you ask me a question, I have your answer. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, the challenge with having all of that information is understanding what is it that the other person wants of that, because they don't want the encyclopedia of pizzas.
Right.
They want a tasty pizza.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And if with your role, if you started coming at them just shotgunning, this is everything that you need to know about pizzas, they're going to tune out. Bye, you're done. But if you can get them to open up and you can know which bits of information you pull from that encyclopedia to give them, but you can't do that unless you're asking those questions, just like you were doing earlier.
Yeah.
So
it's a great point, and I agree with everything you said 100%, right? And it's we've got to, as salespeople, we've got to slow down. We've got to ask the right questions. And I find sometimes one of the most powerful things, well, I think one of the most powerful things you can say sometimes, I don't know, but I'll find out. Right? Because sometimes when we know all the answers, like blah, 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 and it to some people, it can feel like BS. Like this guy I could say the sky's purple. Yes, it is. And and salespeople jump on it, and that's not reality. And sometimes you get more credit for just saying, like, I don't know, but I will find out. And it's a great way to follow up and to get back in front of them and have another conversation. And old mentor of mine, Mark Duffy, he used to always say, get an appointment from an appointment. And so sometimes that getting another appointment could just be, I don't know about that, Michael, but I'm going to find out for you.
Yeah.
Great way to be back in front of somebody.
Yeah. That conversation just reminded me of a quote from one of my favorite motivational speakers, Les Brown. He said, don't let what you want to say get in the way of what your client needs to hear.
Yes.
And so when I first heard that years ago, I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I've been doing wrong for the past X number of years. And once I started implementing that into my conversations, my life changed. And so understanding that this isn't just I'm dumping information on you when you're in sales. It's more of let me figure out what you need to get you to that decision. And having those conversations. So let's shift gears here a little bit.
Let's do it.
Eric, what has been the biggest challenge you've had to overcome in your career?
I was talking about this the other day. I think early on in my sales career, it was, I got this. I'll do this. It's me. I got this. I don't want to ask for help. I don't need help. I can do this. Right. And the day I don't remember the day, but when you figure it out that the more help you get is actually pretty smart, it makes your life a lot easier, and to get help, to get buy-in. If you work for a giant company, if you've got a boss and you're trying to get a prospect or a customer on, have him involved. He may see the opportunity, and then he's going to fight on your behalf to get, maybe it's credit terms, or it's delivery needs, or whatever it might be. Once he sees it, then he's going to be more involved. If you've got a credit department, get them and get as many people involved as you can, because it's going to make your job easier. And then to the prospect, on the prospect side, they're going to be like, holy crap, look at all these people that are helping, that want my business. Like I think like, a lot of things, I find a lot of times sales and life are very much the same, and life is the same way. Get people involved, get buy-in, get help. It takes a village to raise a child. Like, get people involved in your life. One of the weird things in life that I've realized as I've gotten older, and I have a 27-year-old son, and then I have a 13-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old daughter. And with my 27-year-old son, you need to get straight A's. You need straight A's. We expect straight A's. You have to be good at everything, right? But then with the two younger ones, I want them to get straight A's. But the reality is, Michael, there's some things I'm just not good at, and you may not be good at. And so I think a lot of times in life is we need to learn to figure out what God put in us that we're good at, that what's our blessings, and what we're wired to win at. We should really double down on those. Now, the things we're not good at, I don't understand cars and how they work. It doesn't mean I shouldn't take the time to maybe understand it a little bit, but I'm never going to be a mechanic. I'm never going to be a heart surgeon. And so I don't need to double down on that stuff, but I do need to try to be a little better. But man, when there's something inside of you and you've figured it out, be average at just a ton of stuff. But those one or two things, man, if you don't put your effort into all that and go, I say full ass. If you don't half-ass it, go full ass on those things, because if you don't, I think God, the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call it, I think that you're basically just throwing it in God's face. Like, hey, I don't care. But if you're blessed with something and you've got something special in you, man, you better run with that. Some people never even figure out in their life what that is,
Yeah, I think that is something, I feel like that's a mindset shift that most people are trying to move towards. It used to be you have to be the best at everything.
Right.
And people would end up starting a business with the idea nobody can do it better than me. And so I'm going to do everything. Or they'll have the idea of, oh, I hate doing the accountings for my business. I hate doing the books. There's no way anybody is going to enjoy doing that. So I have to trudge through this. I have to do it. And so I can't put that burden on anybody else. But when you actually flip that mentality and you start thinking about, there are actually people in the world who enjoy accounting and would do a better job than I do. Then you could take that.
And look, it's to your point that you don't want to do all the booking and all that stuff for this. And so you found the people to do it for you. It's smart. Right.
Yeah. And so you can find people who want to do those things and better at you, better at it than you are. And then you can go find out what you actually enjoy doing within your business or your job or whatever it is within your household. Go do those things and do them well, and focus on that. Be a specialist, not a generalist.
Yes.
Yes, you need to think about, okay, if I'm buying a car, what kind of gas do I need to put in it? You need to know that, but you don't need to know how the gas goes into the engine, combust, creates energy to force the pistons to turn the wheels. You don't need to know all of that. All you need to know is put the right gas in, start the car, push the brake to stop, and the gas.
Change the oil, check, the basic stuff, right?
Yeah,
the basic stuff.
Exactly.
I will add one other thing to your question from a minute ago. I think the other thing I've learned about work, so to speak, or income, is that there's a stat out there. If you and I had walked into a hotel bar in Houston, Texas, and we both sat, and there was a chair in between us, and we both sat there to eat dinner and hang out, and there's a conference tomorrow, within a minute and a half, one of us will say to the other one, so what do you do? And we will talk about, well, I do perfect crust pizza liners, or I'm an author. You can say, well, I have a podcast, or I'm whatever it is, right? We talk about what we do for work. And the reality is this: you need to find the balance in your life that you realize that what you do for work affords you the things you want to do when you're not at work. And we all have friends that brag about, oh, I worked 70 hours this week. I don't look at that and feel like, oh yeah, good for you. Like that, yeah, that tells me you're not good at delegating. You're not good at time management. You need to hire somebody. You think you have to do it all yourself. Like that doesn't scream incredible leadership to me. It just doesn't, because there's got to be more important things in your life than working 70 hours a week. Do you agree?
100%. And that's where I was taking the conversation next. A lot of buzzwords going around work-life balance. And yeah. I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on that? But I feel like you just summed it up pretty well.
Let me answer that question, because I love when people say work-life balance, because you know what? It's work-life integration. Because I, much like you, I work from home. Right. So I could sit here and I could be in my office and be on the phone all day long for 8, 10, 12, 15 hours, whatever it is I want to do. But you've got to integrate that. And there are moments where I might be sitting on the couch watching a basketball game, but I could be on my phone at the same time replying to an email at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. That's reality. But it works for me at that moment. I don't necessarily need a balance. I've just got to find little cracks and crevices where, like, hey, right now my family's doing something else, or I've got time, I'm going to do this. So I think it's work-life integration. You've got to figure out what works for you. And for you, it could be totally different. For me and my wife and my kids, it could be totally different from what your situation is.
I love that work-life integration. That is so spot on of what it really is, right?
Yeah.
It's not a balance. It's not a pound for pound, an hour for hour. If you work 8 hours, you have to spend 8 hours on. That's not how it works. Right. It is being where you need to be when you need to be there, and being present in that moment. If sitting on the couch watching basketball is what you want to do leisurely, but you have an email that needs to be taken, you can focus on both of those things. That's fine.
Yeah.
Now, if you're sitting there trying to talk to your kids and you're on your phone, that's a completely different story, right? So it's doing the things that make sense in the moment and making sure that you're making time for the right things. You have to make time for work because you have to provide for your family. But if you forget to make time for your family, I think your family has lost out more by not having you.
You're not going to lay on your deathbed and say, I wish I'd worked harder, right? You're going to lay on your deathbed and realize that maybe there are missed opportunities to do things with your family, or just to hang out or be with them. And that's because that's why we're here on this planet, is to have family and to have great memories and leave memories, and not to work harder.
100%. Well, Eric, it seems that things are going pretty well for you in the pizza guru industry. We'll call it that. Things are going well with you for your books. You got both those published and got them out there. Amazon bestseller both times. Yeah. Things are going great for you. A lot of people are looking towards the future and how they can create passive income or enhance or even replace their current income. What are your thoughts on passive income?
You know what? That's an amazing question, because one of the things that I'm sure you're on Chat GPT, I'm going to guess, right? Yep. Yes.
Yeah, I use Chat GPT. To create
go on Chat GPT, and if you've had enough conversations, say, based on all of our discussions, what do you think I can do in the weekend to make a little extra money that doesn't require a lot of effort? And it will give you some stuff. And I'll tell you, I did that last week, and it was actually pretty funny. I posted this on my Facebook page. For $200, if you would like me to come to your business and you would like me to evaluate your social, and you would like to get a signed copy of my book and a 15-minute pep talk for your team, and 3 workable, actionable things that we can leave with, I will do that. And you know what? 5 responses, and I've done them. I've done 4 of the 5 so far. And then the other thing I did was I said, hey, ChatGPT said it, so I put it out there. Hey, for $20, if you Venmo me $20, I will call and leave you a inspirational message first thing in the morning. Now, I had nobody take me up on that, but it was a great idea, right? It was a great idea.
Yeah.
One of the things I think about when people talk about passive income is Zig Ziglar, which is an old school reference, but you reference Les Brown, so you know who Zig Ziglar is, right?
Yep.
Zig Ziglar used to say the problem sometimes with the American workforce is that when we're at work, we're thinking about being at home. And when we're at home, we're thinking about being at work. And so consequently, we don't get anything done at either place, right? And sometimes I don't think it's an income problem. I think it's an outgoing work problem where we don't put the effort in. If we put the effort into really doing the job when we're at the job, I think a lot of things take care of themselves. I mean, I think there is a way to make passive income. Don't get me wrong. But I think sometimes, I don't know if that's always the solution. What are your thoughts? You asked the question, what are your thoughts on passive income?
I think passive income can be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are being touted as passive income, but they're actually active income. Yeah. I think to get to a passive income position, there has to be some type of active work to get you there. You either have to build a business that can take off and go do its own thing, or you have to amass an amount of wealth and go invest that. Right? That can be $1,000 that you put in the stock market. That can be $100,000 that you go invest in a house. Right? There has to be something. But understanding what you're putting into that and then what you're getting out of that is really crucial with passive income. And don't be fooled by somebody telling you that being a landlord is passive income, because it's not.
Work.
It is work. So if you're okay with the work, there's a lot of money to be made there. Just understand that you are creating a business, and with any business, somebody has to run it.
Well, I know you're wrapping this up, and if I may, can I just throw out one thing that's been on my mind lately?
Sure.
We all have things that God, the divine, the universe puts in our mind, puts in our heart to go do. And when something gets put on your heart to do it, do it. Talk about it, pray about it, tell your friends about it. It's amazing when you start talking about the things you want in your life, like writing a book. The number of friends that I had, hey, do you need help? I can help you. What do you need? When you take action on the things that you want, like I said, talk about it, pray about it, tell your friends about it, follow people on social media that can help you get it. And then the big thing is what you just talked about, take action. You can't hope and wish and all these things and put no work and no effort into it. If it's something you want, it's going to take effort, and celebrate the process as you go. And if you don't get there, you get 80% of the way there. Guess what? You were 80% farther along than before you ever even started. So I think in life, it's go full ass on the things that you want. And don't worry about what anyone else thinks. Just go for it, because you know what? At the end of the day, it's you versus you. It's your race. It's my race. It's me and my wife, Megan. It's our race against what we want. It's our race with what our kids and what we want. It's us against us, and keeping up with the Joneses is not a social media thing. It's been around way before that. And, don't judge yourself by other people and what they're doing. Celebrate your friends. Root for their wins. Like I have a friend that said, oh, people's social media is their highlight reels. Good. I want to see your highlights. Good. Look at your friends' highlights, celebrate them, root for them, and then go do your own shit. Go do your own stuff, put the effort into it, and make it happen. And watch your life just flourish, my friend.
Yeah, that is some great advice. And I'll take it one step further. Don't just go start, but set a start date, which is today, and set an end date.
Yep.
So that you're not dragging it out for months, you're not dragging it out for years. Give yourself a reasonable amount of time to get it done. When I say reasonable, I mean take reasonable and cut it in half and go do it. Right?
Yes.
And so if you can do that, you're going to get so much further in life than if you're just sitting around on ideas or ambitions, because
you're going to end up on a podcast like you. Come on.
Yeah, let's go create a podcast if that's what it is. Well, as we're wrapping up our interview, What exciting plans or initiatives do you have in the works for the next 6 to 12 months?
You know what? Right now, three key initiatives for me this year that I'm very active about. Number one, and it's kind of funny because they tie into the conversations we've had today. Number one was to be very intentional, focused on Chat GPT and AI, and to understand it and how I can use it to better my life, to make my life easier, to make my life better. So I'm very focused on that. Secondly, and we talked about this, is to be focused on quality over quantity, and to look at our sales team and say, look, you know what? Some of the best drives in football could be 7 minutes and we kicked a field goal. Like I'll take those. I'll take that all day long. But let's not brag about being in the office for 70 hours. If you can be in the office for 30 and you can make it happen and your numbers are where they need to be, or you're happy with it and we're all happy with it, good. That's what I want for my team, right? And then lastly, I'm going to speak out the other side of my mouth versus Chat GPT and AI, right? I think if you want to stand out in the world today in sales, this is crazy, Michael. You're sitting down. This is crazy. Call people. Pick up the phone and actually call people. We don't call people anymore. We call this our phone, but yet the reality is we probably use it the least for an actual phone. So back to Zig Ziglar, and I mentioned Zig Ziglar in this book, that if Zig Ziglar had social media right now when he was talking sales in the 80s, and someone said to me, well, I'm not using social media, like Zig Ziglar would roll over in his grave if he heard that, right? And it's so weird that now Zig Ziglar lived on talking on the phone and sending faxes. And if Zig Ziglar knew we weren't calling people, or if you wanted to stand out in sales, call someone. We're trying to put the social back into social media. We're trying to put the social back in our electronics, and just pick up the phone and call people. It's amazing. Now, I will say this, most people won't answer anymore, but it leaves you a great opportunity to leave a great voice message and say, hey, Michael, hope you're doing well. Can't wait to see you. Saw what you posted on Instagram yesterday. You and the family looked like a great trip. Love you, my friend. Talk to you later. Oh, gone. Right? We don't do that anymore. So those are the three things we're actually focused on right now from a very broad standpoint. Of course, we've got goals and we've got things we want to get done. And then we've got family goals and things we want to get done around the house with the wife and the kids and all that stuff. But that's it.
That's awesome. I think that's really cool. And I love that you put a plug out there for AI. But I do want to caution people, don't use AI just because everybody else is doing it.
Yep.
Use AI to benefit your life. And if you go down that rabbit hole and it's more of a drain than a benefit, don't use it. It's not for everything. We've in some businesses that I'm a part of, we went down that rabbit hole. We found that we got worse results using AI than just using people. So we went back to using people. We still use AI for certain things, but where people excel, go use people. You are a person. Go use your brain, your logical skills.
Yeah.
But you can use AI to augment and accelerate and take off some of the busy work. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But do it wisely, not just because everyone else is doing it. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for sharing some insights with us. This has been fantastic. If people want to connect with you, what should they do?
You can find me on all social. It's at the Eric Bam. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere, Twitter, everywhere, at the Eric Bam. You can follow me, find me, DM me. Everything on my social is all public. I don't hide anything. It's all out there for everyone to see, and you can see what I'm all about.
All right, guys, you heard it from the Eric Bam right now. If you want to interview him, be interviewed by him, feel free to reach out. He'd love to talk to you and share some more insights with you. This has been another episode of the Success in Motion podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for tuning into Success in Motion. Want to share your story? Visit successinmotionpodcast.com/guest to apply and be featured on the show.